everyone, Sabrina here from Scrappy Tales Crafts, and today I'm going to showcase this adorable new stamp set by Trinity Stamps. This is called Otter Space. I used it in my last Trinity video, so I'm not going to show you any of the coloring since I actually used the same exact otters I used when I colored those up in my last video. So I am going to show you how I created this background again because it is really cool. This is a larger scale background and I incorporated some more watercolor. So here you can see I'm using these Finetech Kuretake Pearl watercolors. I chose green, yellow, blue, and pink. And I'm just taking a paintbrush or a watercolor brush and I'm just adding randomly these colors to a 4 by 5¼ inch panel. And I'm doing it very randomly. I'm trying to mix the pink and blue to get a little bit of a purple. You can see I covered the entire panel with those 4 watercolors. I'm going to clean up my desk. And then I'm going to take some Faded Jeans Distress ink and I'm going to cover a majority of this watercolor. I'm kind of adding the Faded Jeans into 3 areas. So the top and bottom left and right corner and then the center. Over the Faded Jeans, I'm going to go over that with the black soot ink. And then I'll go over the black soot again with the Faded Jeans just to blend out that black. And then you can still see some of those colors peeking through. The watercolor kind of acts as like the nebula in the space background. And then this is what's going to really make it look like a space background when I start to add these stars. So I'm taking the white color from the pearlescent watercolors and I'm taking another paintbrush and I'm going to whack it on top of the other paintbrush that I used to create some stars. I'm also going to create some bigger stars just by drawing little circles in with that paintbrush. And here you can see how cool that background turned out. It's very iridescent, pearly, and I just love how that looks. So off camera I die cut build a spaceship and now I'm going to build the spaceship. I decided to keep it a silver spaceship. I thought it would match the stars nicely, and then the accents I'm going to make green, and then I'm going to add some yellow buttons, I guess, to the bottom of the spaceship. I'm going to make it into a shaker, so I'm going to add some acetate behind the window. And this die set, you can choose to cut the window or just leave it as a whole spaceship. And you're going to see I'm going to do that for my second card. Alright, so I'm going to add my double layer of foam tape here. I did have to cut them down to skinny little strips, but it did end up working. I'm just using my Scotch 3M. I prefer using Scotch when I have to make tiny skinny strips. And then I'll use my double mounted foam tape by Uline on more larger panels. I wanted to have one of my otters inside the spaceship. So I'm taking another piece of acetate. I'm going to line the otter up inside the spaceship and attach it to that second piece of acetate by aligning the acetate behind the otter. I'm going to add some shaker bits. These are by Trinity. They're called Springtime Sequins, but I felt like the colors were metallic and they kind of matched the pearl colors in the background of my sky. And then to close that shaker, you just saw that I added the acetate that the otter was glued on, so you can still see through that spaceship to the background. I'm going to add my second otter to the bottom right, and then I'm just going to decorate it a little more with the asteroids, some stars, and a moon. I'm going to attach the spaceship with my art glitter glue. I wanted to add this highlight for the spaceship, so I just added that on top of the acetate. I'm going to pop up the moon, and then for all the comets and the stars, I'll just glue those flat onto the background. And then I believe I pop up the other otter with foam tape. So I realize now that I didn't have a sentiment on this card, so I'm taking one of the sentiments from the stamp set and I'm going to white heat emboss it towards the bottom left corner, taking some white embossing powder, and I forgot the sentiment that I chose, but you will see it on the close-ups. The sentiments are very punny, so they go with the otters. So and one says, "Have an otter this world day," otter space. So it's really cute. So I think, yeah, I chose "Hope your birthday is otter this world." For my second card, I'm going to create a slimline, and I'm going to use the new Trinity Stamp Space Swirl stencil. This is a layering stencil. You can see I just did my first layer with some black soot distress ink and the first layer of the swirl stencil. I'm blending onto some dark gray cardstock, and I'm actually going to work from darkest to lightest. So you can see I just added the black, and then on top of that, I'm going to ink blend some Versamark ink. You can see I'm more so pouncing the ink blending tool than blending with it. And that's just to apply as much of that Versamark as I can so that I can pour some silver embossing powder. So these stencils are really easy to layer. I will admit that I was a little confused when I got the stencil as to which layer was first, second, and third, but in the end I did figure it out, and it really is cool. I've never really been into stencils, but lately these layering ones are really cool, so they're slowly growing on me, I guess. So I'm going to heat set that silver, and you can see how cool that looks. And for my last layer, the stencil is actually these stars, and I thought that they would be cool white heat emboss. So I'm going to tape the panel to the back of the stencil, and then again I'm going to take my Versamark ink and a ink blending tool to just pounce some ink through that stencil, and then I will pour some white embossing powder through that. Now the panel I'm working on, I did die cut through a stitched rectangle die, and that is a Trinity Stamp slimline die, which I will have linked down below. I think this stencil would also be great for like an Alice in Wonderland themed card where Alice is like falling through the hole. All right, so now I'm going to pour over my white powder. And that is the completed background. I think that looks super cool. All right, and now all I'm going to do is take some of those images from Otter Space and start arranging my scene. So here you can see I cut out another build a spaceship, and I left the base of it whole. I didn't cut out the window from it, but I did cut the window separately from some gray cardstock. I'm going to glue in one of my otters. I'll trim off his little feet so that I can, or so that he can fit in the window. I'm going to add the little buttons onto this red spaceship base, I guess. I added a green strip to the top for detail. I felt like I had too many, so I'm going to remove one of those buttons. I'm going to pop up this red piece. And then I wanted to add the highlight underneath his paw. And then I'll just add that little antenna to the top of the spaceship. And it even cuts out that little dot you can add to the top. So I added that with white cardstock. All right, and then this is kind of laid out the same way as my last card, just on a slimline card. So I'm going to add another otter to the bottom right. And then I'll just sprinkle in some more of the images from the stamp set. Going to pop up the spaceship with some foam tape. And I'll also pop up that other otter. And then some of the elements I'm going to glue flat. This little fish here is really cute. So it's a little fish in a fishbowl in space. And then I'm just going to grab my stars and my comets and add those around the card. So this is a pretty busy card, but I think it works. It looks really cool. I added bows to my otters. I wanted these to be females in space. Maybe they're sisters. All right, so I added so many comments and stars, I forgot again about my sentiments. So off camera, I had stamped out a whole bunch of sentiments onto some white cardstock. I wasn't sure what I wanted to use, so I just stamped them all out. And here I'm just choosing 2 that I like. I'm just cutting them into rectangles with my scissors. Yep, I chose Hope Your Day is Otter, or Hope Your Birthday is Otter This World Again. And I think these cards would be perfect to send to a boy for his birthday. Also a girl. I decided to glue the sentiments separate like that. I kind of liked how it broke up the busy background. So I'm going to glue the rest of my asteroids and my stars. And then I do pop up my sentiment. Just going to use a little bit of foam tape. And that's going to complete the scene on my slimline. I wanted to mat this onto some black cardstock, and I cut this mat from the banners and scalloped rectangle die from Trinity stamps. So there's a little bit of black scallop peeking through. I'm going to add ATG tape behind that, and then I'll glue it onto my card base. And that's going to complete my second card. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will have all of the supplies that I use listed down below. And if you haven't yet already, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I'm almost at 3,000 subscribers. All right, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.